I'm Robbie Cumming. That's me.
No job is ever straightforward on a narrowboat.
And that's me again, having a bit of trouble with my toilet seat.
No, that's wrong.
And this is my narrowboat home, the Naughty Lass. For a decade I've been exploring our rivers and canals, filming my adventures as I go. I'm going to try one last spot over here. It doesn't seem to have any no mooring signs, and things don't always go to plan. Only I could find the worst possible mooring in such a nice area. There are pros and cons passing through popular spots like this, where space is at a premium. There's absolutely no room. This is not good. This time I'm taking on the River Thames. I begin my journey in Reading. I'll moor up in Henley. Then on to Marlow and Maidenhead in Berkshire, before reaching my destination, the historic town of Whindsor. It's about 29 miles in all. There'll be plenty to see. So, jump on board for my Canal Boat Diaries. It's quite a misty morning here in this marina where I've been for the past week. Been doing a lot of travelling around the country, and I needed the most secure place possible to store my boat for a bit. But I have enjoyed a bit of time here, and the people have been really nice and friendly. And there's just so many different types of boats. In my little section here, you've got loads of narrow boats, but you've also got wide beams, you've got Dutch barges, you've got even just little ribs and canoes dotted around the place. And of course, lots of different motor yachts and things like that. Yeah, I'm going to wait for the visibility to improve a little tiny bit, but I've got my coffee, I'm ready to crank it. Right, my first challenge is to reverse out from amongst this line of boats and find my way out of here, because there's a lot of boats in here. There's about 450 of them, and I've got to navigate my way around. Hopefully I don't get lost. This is a very exciting journey for me because I've not been this way with my boat before, and I'm going to do a bit of sightseeing. I'm going to stop off at Henley, see the former home of a Beatle, George Harrison. Might even stop off at his local pub that he used to frequent. Then I'm going to move on to Marlow, where I'm going to delve into a bit of horror history. And to top it off, I'm going to be going past a royal residence. I wonder if they'll let me moor outside. Who knows? We'll find out. The morning mist is starting to lift. And I'm sharing the river with all sorts of boats round here. Got a lot of rowing going on today, which I'm not a fan of, because it's just, I have to pull right over to the side, let them through, and obviously you've got speedboaters following them, or whatever that thing is called. So if you're moored up alongside on the river, you just sends your boat up and down, like being at sea. It's my first lock of this trip, and it's quite an interesting one, this. We are venturing into the land of the famous a little bit here, because Just down that way, actually, is Hollywood A-listers' residence, next to a mill, which is actually now a theatre. And this Hollywood A-lister, you may have heard of him. His name's George Clooney. Apparently, this is one of George's numerous luxury homes. He's had places in France, Italy, and America. He's on a peninsula, whereas the lock keeper that I can just see ahead of me here, he actually lives on an island. So I'm fascinated to know actually from him how he gets by. It does seem quite cut off in these places. This is your place right by the lot here.
Yeah.
What's that like?
I enjoy it. I consider myself very lucky, and to be fair, it's probably the only way I would ever be able to afford to live in Sonning.
Right, yeah, because I am hearing that there's a few sort of rich and famous live around these parts.
Yeah, they do.
But you're on an island.
Yeah.
Some lock keepers I've seen with their place next to the lock, they seem like they're in really remote areas.
Especially if you go upstream.
Yeah.
You know, in the winter you might get flooded in. You have your supplies ready. You know, your dry food, your frozen food and stuff like that.
Yeah. Headed to Henley today, and I'm trying to get there before the mooring spaces get taken up. Is that likely on a Saturday?
If it looks busy, as you go through the lock, look to your left hand side. If it's busy, if you see one, grab one. If not, try and get closer to town.
It's lovely chatting to friendly lock keepers. These are the people who keep this river running smoothly. Next, I'm heading under Sonning Bridge, which links Oxfordshire and Berkshire. According to folklore, the bridge was an escape route for the infamous highwayman Dick Turpin after he stayed at a local inn. The Thames has got over 180 islands all along it, which I think is fascinating how many there are. This is just one of them, this triangular shaped one that's called the Lynch. The weird thing about this one is in these parts the river is the county line, so on this left side, on port side to me, is the Oxfordshire side, which is where the island is, but actually it belongs to the Berkshire side, which is on the starboard, over here on the right. Many of the islands on the Thames are natural. However, some were created by digging new navigation channels to provide a shorter route for boats. So I thought the Oxford Canal was busy earlier in the summer with all the hire boats and everything, but this, another level. The geese certainly think so. And look at them, there's so many. I've never seen so many geese in one spot. I've just seen the same trip boat again. I'm having a massive deja vu now. Sometimes you see the same boat over and over again. And unlike the canals, which are more intimate, on a wide river like this, it can be tricky to say hello to fellow travellers. So I'm going to moor up for a proper chat with an experienced skipper who works for a local charity. Do you run this trip boat?
Yeah, I'm the lucky skipper, yeah.
Because I feel like I've seen you all day long going up and down. Where have you been today on your boat?
So we cover about 8 to 10 miles of river between Shiplake Lock and Hambledon Lock, setting off from here and coming back to here 2 hours later. We've had a family on board today, the 2 wheelchair users. They were having a gathering. They come every year. We also take care home groups The boat's equipped with a wheelchair lift, and it's got a nice spacious interior with no steps, so it's ideal for people with reduced mobility. It's a team of about 30 of us, and everyone else is a volunteer, and it's been my full-time job since 2008 when the boat was first launched.
What's your history of boating? Are you a boater? Or...
Yeah, I'm a third generation of boaters. My granddad was a boatman for the Thames Conservancy after being in the RAF, and my father Peter has been working at Hobbs Boatyard, which is just down here, for 52 years now.
Wow.
And I live on a boat.
Lucy, obviously I'm just tying up for a little bit just to chat to you, but it's getting on. Have I got to watch out for moorings? You know, they're quite popular around Henley, I imagine.
Yeah, it can get very busy, but I think now the kids have gone back to school, it's quieting down a bit, and seeing as you're facing this way, I would suggest trying to get in just a bit further up.
Yeah, I can see a couple of gaps there. All right. Brilliant. And where are all the shops and everything? Which way do I head for that?
Down here, down the towpath, to the end, and then turn left, and you'll find yourself in town.
Brilliant. All right, thanks very much. Thanks so much. Cheers. That was nice talking to Lucy, who has obviously got a much stronger boating pedigree than me. It's not only working on a boat, but living on a boat as well. What I need to do now is to find a mooring, and hopefully one of these will do. I've just been woken up by the rain on the roof. It's always quite loud when you live in a steel corridor like I do. But also there's thunder and lightning and I cannot resist it. I have to get up and watch it somehow, even though it is 1:30 in the morning. While seagoing vessels get a shipping forecast on the radio, there's nothing like that for narrowboaters. I rely on my phone much like everyone else. Anyway, that's enough of that. I need to get some sleep. Got a big day tomorrow. I've got to be up early as well. Oh, that was quite a loud and dramatic night mooring here, and the weather forecast for today doesn't look very consistent, so who knows, but I'm going to try and have a little walk round Henley while it's quiet. Well, you can tell where I am in the country, all these posh looking boats. Some of the names: Bubbles and Giggles, Zanzibar, and Her Majesty, which is probably the poshest name you can get. I moored up on a Saturday night in Henley, already quite busy, so I thought I'd wait till Sunday morning. It'd be much quieter. It wasn't as quiet as I thought. It was obviously a tourist hotspot, lots of visitors there, and lots of locals out and about. I've just walked up the road from the river to see this. This is basically George Harrison's old house. His wife still lives here, but yeah, this was his residence. 30-acre estate. He obviously had studios, grottos and caves, and even a scale model of the Matterhorn somewhere. Yeah, wow, what a place to hang your hat. Obviously I'm not allowed in. They wouldn't have my sort in there, but it does look incredible. I was brought up on the Beatles, so that was a real treat. Anyway, it's time to get going. The flow isn't that strong on the river today, despite all the rain that's just fallen. But still, I'm always mindful of bridges on rivers. You've got to make sure, if you have to turn, you turn early. So I'm going to try and get into the centre arch here and avoid the fate of, well, one boat called Crazy Love, that crashed into it, knocked a load of masonry from the bridge itself, did £200,000 worth of damage basically, which was about 20 times the cost of the bridge when it was built in the 1780s. Leaving the town, I'm travelling along Henley Reach, a naturally straight stretch of river, which is artificially extended to accommodate the Henley Royal Regatta with all of its races. A little further downstream, there's a former riverside residence. This grand country home here is actually used as a business school now, but it was where the W.H. Smith dynasty lived. They made their money obviously through opening newsagents across the country. With the railway boom, they really spread out and took advantage of that. And they had enough money not only to buy this estate here, but also the one on the other side of the Thames, so that got them the most privacy you can get, I suppose. Apart from boats like mine maybe sneaking past and having a look in. There's no privacy from me. I can see you. I can see you from here. Going to find somewhere to moor now. I think there's a place coming up that's above the lock. I can just tie up for a little while, get on with the DIY job that I've been meaning to do for a while. I've got a long to-do list of things that I want to get done. Today I'm going to attempt a job that I've been putting off for a while. Mainly because it's a little bit complicated looking, but it's something I really want to get sorted now, and I've got the right part for it. It is, of course, my toilet seat. This one came with the boat, which I bought about 10 years ago, so it's well past its sell-by date. Oh, that's quite snug. With DIY, I do like to give it a go. But at the same time, because I know I've got to film it and include it in my diaries, I do put off a lot of jobs, especially ones that are really fiddly.
No job is ever straightforward on a narrowboat. Not much space to work in, obviously. And this isn't like a household toilet. You know, already I've pulled it out from the wall and it's got all these electronic bits as well as plumbing. And everything's bespoke. Toilet seat cost me 100 quid.
No, that's wrong. It was a fiddly job. There were plenty of little bits and bobs that I didn't really know how to assemble, but I got there in the end. Chucked the instructions away and just got on with it. However, it's got a very neat soft close function which I've never been used to, so yeah, loving it. It seems things always cost more when you're buying bespoke fittings for a boat. Just coming up to my third and final lock of the day. This one's called Temple Lock. The interesting thing about it is, for a long time they used two locks here, like a twin lock system. A smaller one, the original, was first put in the 1770s for smaller boats. The newer one, the much larger one, was for bigger boats, and it's that one that I'll be going through. Not because I've got a bigger boat, but because it's the only one still working. The original has been sealed off, it's very overgrown, and apparently there's a shipwreck somewhere within.
I later discovered the lockkeeper removed most of the wreck a while back, so there's not much to see, and details about the old boat are a bit sketchy. From here, I'm not far from tonight's mooring. Well, the sun has come out for me here in Marlow, so hopefully that is a good sign. But I can also find a mooring, but it does look pretty busy. Even the first few what should be spaces. The town of Marlow owes its importance to this river, as it was once a thriving inland port. While I'm in Marlow, I'm going to do something quite interesting. I'm going to learn more about horror author Mary Shelley, and I'm also going to go jogging. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I think it might be a good combination of the two activities, but I haven't been jogging for a while, so who knows. Visiting a new place, it's always nice to meet the locals and get shown around a little bit, and I decided what I was going to do this time was ring ahead and see if I could do it in a slightly different way. I met up with Mike and Una, who are two members of the Marlow Striders running club.
Hi,
How's
Robin.
it going?
I'm Mike. Very nice to meet you.
Mike and
Una,
nice to meet you too. Brilliant. I think I'm ready for this. What we're going to do today?
Well, we thought we'd do a gentle jog around the environs of Marlow.
They took me on a tour. Which way now?
So hang on.
This round, okay.
Yeah.
We focused on places related to Mary Shelley because of her horror classic Frankenstein. Why have you brought me to this building in particular?
Well, we stopped here because you're looking a bit knackered, and we thought we should tell you a story. But the real reason is this is one of the most important locations in Marlow historically, and certainly the most important location regarding Mary Shelley. This is where Mary and Percy lived, and this is where she finished her famous novel Frankenstein.
Oh, she finished it right here in this building.
Absolutely. At the time they lived here, all of this building was called Albion House. After they moved out in 1817, the house was split into four, which is what I've got now.
Mary Shelley's famous novel has influenced generations through films, TV shows, and even video games. And in Monster, in the 1931 film starring Boris Karloff, remains one of the most recognisable horror icons in history. Thanks so much, Yuto, for this tour of the town. Should we make our way back?
Yeah,
I think I've got my breath back. Let's do it. Oh, I think I've got my exercise today. Right, it is quite windy today, so as I'm setting off, I've already got that challenge, but I need to get moving. I'm gonna carry on my journey. This impressive structure I'm passing beneath now is called the Marlow Suspension Bridge. It has a twin on the River Danube in Hungary, but much, much bigger because that's a bigger river. And when the Germans were retreating in World War II, they actually blew it up. Marlow's bigger sister bridge was rebuilt after the war
and both were designed by the 19th century civil engineer William Turney Clark. From here I've got about 13 miles to go. I'll moor up in Maidenhead before reaching my destination, Whindsor in Berkshire. As I'm headed down the Thames, I'm seeing it get wider. I'm seeing larger boats, faster boats, and the flow of the water is speeding up a little bit as well as it all opens out. So yeah, it's getting a bit more real. The bit I'm passing now is called Quarry Wood, and it was apparently the inspiration for Kenneth Grahame's Wind in the Willows. Ratty, Moley, Badger and Mr. Toad. Initially, when it was released in 1908, it was not well received by critics, but it's become a British children's classic. And I can just look around here and think, yeah, how can you not be inspired by this landscape? There is something to it, something quite magical. I mean, there's a castle that I'm about to go past, what looks like a castle. Beautiful. So this lock here is a self-service one. I get to do it myself, which is great, but actually I'm also being joined by another couple of boats. Oh no, I think it's just one boat with a smaller one tied next to it. I think it's a blacksmith. That's very cool. Hey up mate, alright? Yeah, I thought it was two boats in the lock until I saw they were joined together. They are two different boats, aren't they?
Yeah. Emily, the blue one, is actually a butty. There's no engine in there.
The blue one?
This one
Yeah,
is
this
the
one.
butty, so
Right.
there's no engine in here at all.
That's mad, because I would have thought the bigger boat would have had the engine
Yeah,
in it.
yeah. And then the tug that's pushing us along.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
because
I've not seen this
Brian
before.
built it so that we wouldn't have to have two steerers. 'Cause
He
when-
built the boat?
He built the tug, yeah, because we had two young children and we wanted to be with them, so we thought it'd be easier if we just had one steerer, so he's pushing this one along and it made more room for the
Right.
kids, but they've long gone now.
Do you work whilst you're moving about then?
Yeah, this is my husband Brian,
Right,
he's
Brian.
the blacksmith.
How you doing?
He
Nice
built
to meet you,
the
buddy.
tug
Right, yeah.
Yeah, good.
and he works in his workshop there and makes lovely sculptures and all sorts of things. Have
So
a
what
look.
part of the boat is the workshop then? Is it the...
Front of the tug.
Oh, right.
Come and have a look.
Yeah, let's do it.
I don't know if you can see in there behind the little steel doors, that's the forge itself. The chimney has an extension piece, you can see around the corner, so that stands about 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
It's quite a small anvil
Anvil, yeah.
by blacksmith standards, but you can still do everything on it.
Yeah. What kind of things can you make on your setup here?
I can make pretty much anything you like in steel, really. Anything forged and that sort of thing, but I do quite a lot of garden things from
Some
here.
decorative items
So
for the
yeah, a lot
garden?
of decorative
Yeah.
items, a lot of sculptures.
Yeah.
But I also do sort of more practical things like fire pokers and that type of thing. If somebody comes along and wants a special bracket, I can do that.
All right, Brian. Well, I think I've got to rush around the other side to my boat because the lock keeper's there. But thanks for showing me around. This has been, yeah, inspirational. Thank you.
That's all right.
With the lock keeper back on duty, it speeds things up, and we can all get on our way. It's nice to see a working boat and obviously a liverboard as well. The tug and workshop at the back providing the propulsion. Brilliant. Because most of the time I'm just seeing pleasure cruisers everywhere. That's like a little slice of realism for me, that. Love it.
Next on the Thames, I passed this stately pile. It was where the Profumo affair began, a notorious scandal back in the 60s. Here, John Profumo, the then Secretary of State for War, first met the 19-year-old model Christine Keeler, who'd been invited to a party. Their brief affair hit the headlines when it was revealed Keeler was also in a relationship with a feared Soviet spy. Right, I'm just at this next lock, Balter's Lock in Maidenhead, but after passing a fork in the river, it was almost a little bit confusing. I've made the right choice at least. I've also seen at the lock someone wearing an Environment Agency uniform, so I'm going to use this opportunity, I've got my map here, to ask them what is going on with the other channels that come off the river. Excuse me, hi. I've just been passing by some parts of the river and I wonder if you could tell me a bit more about it, perhaps.
I'll have a go, yeah.
Right, there's a channel that seems to come off the Thames. What is it for? It's called the Jubilee River.
Oh yeah. It's not actually a river, it's man-made. It's a relief channel, so it's there to take water away from the Thames to stop flooding in Maidenhead, Whindsor and Eton. So when too much water is coming down the Thames, we open the weirs and the water starts to go down here. So instead of being in the Thames and going out into the homes in Maidenhead, it's coming down here.
Now what would happen if I took my boat down the river?
Not a lot, to be honest.
Right.
Because you're going to come to the weir just here and you'll find yourself reversing back up again.
Okay.
Because you couldn't. But even if you could get past the weir, you wouldn't go by because that's not navigation. Stick to the Thames.
Okay.
Navigation.
Will do.
Keep your boat there.
Okay. So I won't be exploring the Jubilee River by boat, but it was quite a feat of engineering and cost over 100 million to build. Right, that's the last lock of the day done. Now I get to try and see if I can find a mooring. I'm hoping it's going to be around the corner. Certainly when I'm looking at the satellite maps on the internet, it shows you where boats moor, but you don't necessarily see no mooring signs or private or whatever it is. There's absolutely no room. This is not good. Mooring on the Thames has been a real challenge. I think I expected it really, especially knowing that I wanted to stop in towns where, it's going to be quite popular. But what I wasn't prepared for was how early on they seem to all book up. I've scoured the whole of Maidenhead, what I can see, and there's no moorings for me, so I'm gonna spin it round. I've got one last shot across the river there. Looks like you can moor, but we don't know until we get there, do we? Only I could find the worst possible mooring in such a nice area. Look at those tyres just around an iron bar just sticking out. Not the best mooring. One of the sketchiest I've ever had. Been a bit spoilt of late. I've been able to moor in towns, well eventually, when I can find a space, and just walk straight into the middle of it. Henley, Marlow, but with Maidenhead, I've apparently got a mile from my boat to where the town is.
think I've hit Maidenhead town centre a little bit too late. A lot of the shops are shut, but I might be able to get something to eat at least, because all the restaurants and the pubs are open. I thought Maidenhead was fine. What can I say about it? It's like a regular town, and it made me feel a bit more at home than perhaps the Henleys or Marlows of this area. Although they were really nice, I just felt like Maidenhead was just a bit more normal for me. I'm just going to turn my boat around so I can go with the flow once more. The weather today, not great at all. You can see on my glasses all the rain spotting, but I can't stay here because it is a private no mooring spot. I've been told by some of the locals. So yeah, time for me to move on. I was also told the sign saying no mooring had been swept away in a flood, so I wasn't to know. Next, I'm approaching Maidenhead Railway Bridge, which was designed by the famous civil engineer Isambard Kingdom Brunel. While being built, its groundbreaking low-rise arches attracted controversy due to their alleged lack of stability. As a result, the scaffolding stayed in place for quite some time to reinforce the structure, until it was eventually washed away in a storm. Thankfully, Brunel's bridge stood strong and was recognised as a triumph of engineering. Just passing by a film studios. That's something you don't see every day. They've got numbers on the buildings to indicate the different lots, I suppose. Is that what they call them? I don't know. I'm not. Although I'm making a TV show right now, this is happening, I have no idea about any of it. The studios are perhaps best known as the home of Hammer Films, who created over 100 fantasy and horror films, including The Curse of Frankenstein. I wonder what Mary Shelley would have thought of that. I am fascinated by horror stories, with the macabre and things that go bump in the night. I don't know why, but I would say I probably gravitate more towards reading them rather than watching them. Stories where you're not sure which way it's going to turn, how far it's going to go, is always exciting. It's my last day on this trip, heading to Whindsor as my destination. And I've just been thinking about my general experience as a liveaboard boater. I've lived on the Trent, the Ouse, and the Severn as well with this boat, and the Thames, I haven't found it very accommodating in terms of a liveaboard boater situation. A lot of the moorings they do charge for, but it's not going to put me off exploring the rest of it, and I'm certainly looking forward to the next bit of the journey, ticking off another part of the waterway that I've not explored. I think I found a little mooring, which is very rare these parts, and this is perfect because I need somewhere to do a little bit of work. I haven't had a chance to do much DIY except for inside, and and I need to get stuff out of my top box, rearrange it, put it back in again, and hopefully I'll end up with some more space for winter fuel. This is an ideal spot. In fact, it's the best mooring I've had so far on this part of the Thames. I bought this second-hand storage box last year off a boater, and it's proved to be a great purchase, as I keep all sorts of stuff inside. Well, I didn't make too much extra room, but I did have a little bit of a throw out, and I did find that I've got quite a good supply of wood already, so I'm happy. Looks tidy as well. Awesome. I'm on my way again now. That was a good mooring, but it's not where I need to end up. That's in Whindsor. I've got another mile to travel and then go through this next lock. But it does highlight the problems with moorings for me. As a liveaboard boater, you know, I need more time, not just 24 hours. The maximum for that mooring I was just on was 72. Arriving in a town by boat is just completely different to driving there or taking the train there or even walking there. It's just round the corner, you might not even see the town, then suddenly you're sort of drifting in. It's really quite relaxing most of the time, and you just see a completely different angle of the town itself. This is quite some ending to a journey. The site of Whindsor Castle here. I can see moorings all around me, so plenty of options. It's been 29 miles, 11 locks since I left a misty Reading. We've managed to see the former home of George Harrison, Henley. I got a little bit of a horror tour of Marlow, which was quite fun actually. But I will be mooring up in sight of a royal residence, so I need to be on my best behaviour, whatever I do.